Davis struggling, throws it up in the basket, and it's over. Tobias Harris puts in the game winner.
All right, a lot to get into with this game, guys. Last night, LA versus Philly, best record in the West versus best record in the East. Philly did get the best of them at home. Max's MVP pick, Joel Embiid, not happy with a bunch of the calls, thought LeBron should have been ejected. Stephen A., I'll start with you. What did the Sixers prove to you by beating LA?
Well, it proved to me that they could possibly win it all if Ben Simmons would shoot jump shots. I think that's the glaring weakness in it all. The last play of the game, Max, essentially, they pulled the LeBron. Doc Rivers called a beautiful, beautiful play because they bring the ball up the court and then Tobias Harris picks off Caruso, so Caruso has to ultimately guard him because LeBron was on Tobias Harris, okay? But you forced the switch, so you had Caruso on Tobias Harris, and then obviously Tobias Harris took him and sealed the deal with under 2 seconds left, and that's how they won this game because that's something that LeBron James usually does. He finds the mismatch, he takes advantage of it, either for himself or another player on his team, and that's what happened. But Doc Rivers, pulled that on him last night. Having said all of that, I just think that when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, you look at this kid Maxey, you look at Tobias Harris, the way that he's been balling, you look at Joel Embiid, the way that he's been balling, along with Seth Curry, who I can't say enough about because he's really, really ascending before our very eyes. What it comes down to is Ben Simmons being on the court and being a threat offensively. If he's a threat, if he's somebody that you have to pay attention to, it's going to free up shot opportunities for other people, including Embiid, along with others. If you don't do that, you essentially get to play 4-on-5 basketball against the Philadelphia 76ers, particularly with Ben Simmons not being a perimeter threat. We know he can take the ball to the hole and finish at the basket and score there. But when you can score from the perimeter, it opens the floodgates for you offensively. And that's what Ben Simmons needs to do. I don't care what anybody says. Speaking to Daryl Morey last night, he acknowledged it to some degree. Obviously, Doc Rivers thinks otherwise. You have to, in my estimation, be able to shoot jump shots in order for you to win the chip if you are the Philadelphia 76ers. You need Ben Simmons to be able to be some kind of threat to keep opposing defenses honest. If not, it will come back to bite you when it really counts. Not during the regular season, not during the early rounds of the playoffs, but eventually it will come back to bite you against the elite teams.
First of all, you're right about Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons could really shoot, Stephen A., he'd be an MVP candidate for real.
Easy.
And I might not be taking the Nets to get out of the East. That's number one. Number two, you're right about Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers, look, why is Rondo a playoff player? Why is there playoff Rondo? Regular season, boy, he's not that good anymore. Playoffs, oh my God, he's an all-star. Because playoffs is coach's time, right? The guys who know all the plays. There's more intensity. There's more kind of designed plays. The guys who know all the plays have an advantage, like a brilliant guy like Rondo, who knows everything. He's like a coach on the floor. Doc Rivers has like the play out of the timeout that gets you the bucket. Of course, you need the horses, but the coach that can design the play that gets you the bucket out of the timeout, that team has a big advantage in the playoffs. The Sixers have that guy now. So you're right about that, too. But that's not what I peel from the game. What I peel from the game is this. What is this league going to do with Joel Embiid? In an era that absolutely goes against a guy of Embiid's size, right? And because he also has classic back-to-the-basket center skills. Those guys are almost never the best player in the game or one of the best players in the game or really in the MVP conversation. When was the last time it happened? But Embiid, because he has those skills and also all kinds of other skills, he's still my MVP after that game. He was giving AD the business. Anthony Davis, the business. When you looked on paper heading into this game, Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol, well, you can't really ask for more going up against Embiid, and they couldn't do anything with him. So what did they do? LeBron James, who was not a dirty player, had a dirty play. Both hands on Embiid in the air, pushed him. And by the way, Marc Gasol behind him didn't give him anywhere to land and actually gave him a little tap in the back. Embiid came down so hard, Stephen A., that when they replayed it with sound, it was hard to watch and listen to. That's a big man coming down a long way on a bad back. And what happened after that play? The Lakers started making a furious comeback. Embiid was not the same. He had that one nice move on AD where he scored, but he really wasn't the same. They kind of took him out of the game with that play. In the end, though, what I take away is Embiid so far is the MVP, and the Sixers won the game. Yes, they were at home. Yes, they had a big lead that got whittled away once it looked like Embiid's back really started to stiffen, right, to tighten. But they still managed to hang on in a game where when you were watching, let's admit it, it was like, Lakers going to win this. Well, they're coming back. They're showing them what a champion is. And the Sixers held on.
Well, first of all, I've seen worse in terms of the fall. I've seen worse. It was kind of nasty, but I've seen much, much worse. Let's put that in perspective, number one. Number two, however, having said all of that, I would understand your sensitivity to such issues, Max. Anybody that has a back issue, you are definitely sensitive to those things. I definitely understand that, Max. I understand where you're coming from and you know, Mr. Elliptical. I understand. But in the end, here's what the deal is, Max. When you sit up there and you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, you look at, Joel Embiid, here's what I would say to buffer your argument about him. Right now, Max, when are you and I going to sit here? Because we don't have time today with this Deshaun Watson news, but when are you and I going to sit here, rhetorically speaking, and have a discussion about whether or not Joel Embiid is going to overtake Giannis? Because I got news for you. Giannis in an open court is a monster. We get that. 6'11" with his wingspan, his agility, his athleticism, his hops, all of that is true. But he's not the true big that Joel Embiid is. And now that Doc Rivers got him doing what I begged Brett Brown to do for 3 years, which was get Joel Embiid's big butt behind in the post and let him be a man amongst boys. Now that Doc Rivers got him doing more of that, and Joel Embiid being able to shoot perimeter shots, particularly in a half-court setting, he's got a chance right now to overtake Giannis as the elite big in the Eastern Conference.
That's a major point. I hate to gloss over it, but we got to go straight.
Hey, LeBron, what you see is the primary reason that Philly was able to build the double-digit leads sort of, once a quarter almost that you guys had to kind of dig your way out of?
It was a game of rust for them. The first quarter was we put them to the free throw line way too much. I believe they had 12 free throw attempts at the end of the first quarter, something like that. And B probably may have like 8 of those. And it allowed them to get their defense set, neutralized us being able to get stops to get out on the break. So we had to do a better job of that. But I thought, listen, besides that, we held them to 21 points in the second, 26 and 26. And, and gave ourselves an opportunity to win at the end. And it didn't go our way, but I loved our fight. But you got to do a better job with keeping our hands out of the cookie jar, especially with a guy like Embiid who has, Harden-like, magic as far as the swipe moves and things of that nature.
Up until that final run there, the shots weren't going down. That's happened a couple times on this trip. Have you seen anything different, or is it sort of make-miss in the way that you guys are getting shots and then converting from the perimeter?
I think we got some great looks. We play the same way every game. It's not like we change our approach, and our shooters kind of struggle tonight, obviously. We need, to open up the perimeter a lot more, but we got some great shots. Didn't make it.
Wow. Hey, LeBron, that closing lineup you guys had tonight, a lot of teams, even dating back to last postseason, has struggled when you and AD are with 3 other perimeter players. Do you feel like that lineup they had tonight is a little bit of a ace in the hole that you guys have to really match up well with anybody?
Well, it's always good to know that you can go down the stretch and go to AD at the 5 and me at kind of like that point forward, and then surround us with guards and shooters and defenders if need be. We have a lot of minutes as far as with AD at the 5 and me kind of playing the 4 on defense and playing the point on the offensive end. So it was a good lineup for us, and then also having KCP out there with AC and Dennis, just gave us a lot of dimension, both offensively and defensively.
Dan.
All right. Sorry about that. LeBron, AD was under 20 points again tonight. What do you think of his offensive rhythm right now? And are there things that you guys can do to try to get him going a little bit more, or is this just him working his way into the season still?
You said AD?
Yeah, Anthony.
No, I thought, he missed some shots that he's accustomed to making, and I think AD is in a pretty good rhythm right now, and I think every game is, getting better and better for him. But it's our job to give him the ball. It's our job to get him the ball. And I thought we did a great job at times. At times we did not. So we got to be better as well with that.
Dave?
Ron, a couple of years back, we were in Philly, and you were talking about the Sixers squad and the expectations placed upon them. And you said everybody wants instant oatmeal, but it takes some time for these things to come together. How do you view them now, the number one team in the East, and they played you guys down to the wire?
I think it's a really good team that they put together. I give a lot of credit to Ellen Brand and and the things that they're doing here. Obviously Doc has always won pretty much wherever he's been, and he got him playing some really good basketball. So we see as the season goes on, there's going to be a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference that's going to play championship basketball down the stretch. I know they believe that they're one of those teams.
Two more, Bill.
Hey, LeBron. That run that you guys had in the fourth, started with a couple of buckets from Alex, and then he has steal in there also. I'm just wondering, how have his contributions maybe evolved, or what is different about the way he's contributing to this group this year, and just how much better is he than he was a year ago?
I mean, AC is whatever we need. AC is kind of a Swiss Army knife, to be honest. If you need scissors, you need a wine opener, you need a fingernail clipper, if you need a knife, he's all of that in one. He can do it all. I mean, he just helps our ball club in so many different ways. He can bring the ball up, play the point. He can play off the ball. I mean, he's shooting, dead eye from the three this year, and he defends at a high level, and he doesn't make many mistakes. So, you always can live with that. You can live with a guy on the floor like that and just plays championship basketball.
So you make him open your wine for you?
And I open my own wine. I'm going to be honest. I would not let him open my wine, and that's no disrespect to him. But when it comes to my wine, I trust myself.
Sierra?
Hey, LeBron. I was just wondering, with how long you've been on the top, you've obviously had to adapt to a lot of things. I was just wondering how it is that you manage changing your game and just change in general.
You have to change with the times, I guess. You have to continue to evolve. I mean, when I came into the league, it was literally a big man's league, pretty much. And I don't mean that it's not a big man's league. Now I mean like fours and fives pretty much played in the paint. You had, big guys, and there was a lot of posting up, things of that nature. You had some flick wings and things of that nature, but it was a big body, big man game. And, as the league evolves, you have to be able to evolve with it if you want to keep up with the time, keep up with the Joneses or keep up with the Jameses in my case. So, for me, never putting a cap on my ceiling. I just want to always continue to get better and do things out on the floor that's